Hi my couples, and welcome back to my channel where I share wedding tips and tricks with you every week on how to plan your wedding. So today I'm going to be talking about how to pick your wedding party. The rule of thumb used to be, back in the dark ages, that for every 50 guests that you had to have one person in your wedding party. No one follows this rule anymore. So what is the correct number that you should have in your wedding party? There's not one. So you can have as many people in your wedding party as you want. However, I do recommend though that if you are having a small wedding, about 50 guests, you don't want 10 people standing in your wedding party then, because half of your guest list is in the wedding party, and it just looks weird. You have this long spread up there of you and your wedding party, and then you have not that many guests sitting in the seats. So I do recommend keeping your numbers accurate to your guest count a little bit. So the other question I get asked a lot from my couples is, do you have to have an even number in your wedding party? And the answer is no. You can have more on one side than the other side, and that's totally fine. I do say though, remember that the more people that you have in your wedding party, the more it costs you. So especially for flowers, you have to remember that you then have to buy boutonnieres for all of the guys in the wedding, and bouquets for all the ladies in the wedding. And also, if you're going to have flower girls and that kind of stuff, those are all additional costs that are going to add on. The other thing that I want to touch base on is, here in the United States, it is common that the bridesmaids and groomsmen pay for things on their own, such as the dress that they're going to wear, or the suit, tux, whatever they have chosen. In other countries though, it is the couple's responsibility to pay for the dress, the shoes, and all of that stuff. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're one of my couples overseas that's watching this. All right, now let's talk about who makes the list. Is it your cousins, friends, sisters, brothers? Who is going to be a part of your wedding party and who is, kind of necessary? It's entirely up to you. I do recommend though that these are people that you get along with, first of all, because you're with them most of the day. They're like your hype team for the day, they're there to cheer you on and make sure that, the party's happening and everyone's having a good time. That's what your wedding party is there to do. They are there to help you guys throughout the day, but also make sure you're excited about the day and everything's kind of going well in all aspects, and making sure that you're as relaxed as you can be on your wedding day. So you definitely want a good core group of people that are going to be in your wedding party. Now, in my wedding party, I did a mixture. Obviously, we're an LGBTQ couple, so we had boys and girls on both sides. So if you are a couple that's not an LGBTQ couple, that's totally fine too. I've had straight couples that have, the bride has the best man, it's her brother. Or, it's just a really good friend that's been with her whole entire life. Things are changing. Shocker, surprise. There's no right or wrong answer, and I find that that's the answer I give to a lot of my couples. This day is about you and what you want. So if your mom is pushing you to put your cousin in the wedding and you don't get along with that cousin, you never really have, don't put her in the wedding. You have to have a strong relationship with these people. Kids. This is where I get a lot of slack. Kids in weddings. I did not have kids in my wedding. They run around. If their parent is in your wedding party, then, that person's not getting to enjoy the day with you and kind of do all the fun stuff that goes on throughout the day because they're watching their kid. So if their child is in the wedding, make sure dad's around, especially if he's not in the wedding, to help out with that. But I recommend no kids. This day is supposed to be about you. You don't want, everyone chasing around a small child all day or worrying about if they're gonna make it to the wedding, and then, when it's time to get down the aisle, they throw a tantrum. Sometimes this is where I'll come in as a wedding planner. I've given Cheetos to kids to get them down the aisle. I've given them toys, whatever it takes. I always tell couples it's either going to be a very comical moment in your wedding, or they're going to do it and it's going to be great, or they're going to get up there, they're going to see all of those people, and then they're going to bolt in the other direction. I've seen it all. So kind of decide if that flower girl or, small child is really necessary, and if that is something that you do want in your wedding. We did not have kids at the wedding, not in the wedding party, nor in attendance, just not my gig. However, we did invite kids to the rehearsal dinner. So like my brother, I have 4 siblings, so they were all allowed to bring their kids to the wedding party, the wedding rehearsal the night before, and everyone had a good time, and that way they kind of felt like they were part of the wedding, but they weren't there for the big day to kind of see everything. Wow, I can't talk again today. But that's just my tidbit on kids. Sorry, I keep looking down at my notes, guys. The other thing I want to mention is people in your wedding party, again, if I didn't mention this before, are they lifelong friends? Are these people that when you look back at your wedding photos, 10, 20 years from now, you're going to be still friends with this person? You don't want some, 3-month friend you just met at work, once you leave that job, you probably might not ever talk to them again. So that might not be the best person to have in your wedding party. Definitely invite them to the wedding, but they don't need to be a part of the wedding party. The other thing that I'm going to talk about, and this is the last thing, promise guys, is make sure that the people who you do pick are responsible. They need to be on time for things. They are there with you from, jump, basically. You're picking these folks. You want to pick them about 10 to 12 months before the wedding, so that way they have enough time to either say, yes, I can do this, because it is a financial burden to them. Well, not a burden, but, it's going to cost them financially for the dress and everything like that. Like I said, here in the United States, the wedding party is responsible for paying for things. So you want to make sure that they're also in a financial state where they can afford to pay for their dress, all of that stuff. And you also don't want any drama, friends, okay? No drama, all right? So if you have a friend that is known for drama, or, one thing can set off their whole day, that's probably not the person that you want in your wedding party. And again, invite them as a guest, but this is your hype group for the day. So again, you want them to be cheering you on. You just want a good core group of people. Make sure that they're all gonna get along as well. You can have, your family in the wedding party, you can have some friends, and then you can have some work friends if you're really close to them as well. But you want to make sure that all of these people kind of blend well together, because you're going to do things like bridal shower together and, bachelorette party. So all of these people are going to spend a little bit of time getting to know each other if they don't already. So you want to make sure that, again, this is a good core group of people. All right, so I said that was the last thing I was going to talk about, but I lied. So 2 more things. Something that's kind of become popular over the past few years is having your fur babies a part of your wedding. Just make sure that if you are going to do this, that one, they're allowed in the ceremony space. A lot of venues will not allow a animal where they're going to be serving food and beverage, basically. So just make sure that that's okay. The other thing is make sure that there's someone to take care of this dog. So like a dog handler or someone, so that after the ceremony's over, that dog has someone to take it then somewhere to go, or pet, whatever you have. And this is the last thing I'm going to talk about: how to announce who is in your wedding party. So there are tons of things you can do. You can send them gifts and kind of a note, asking them. My husband and I just straight up said, hey, you want to do this? You want to be a part of this? Let's do it. So they all said yes, but you can send small boxes. Again, just remember that this is going to add to your budget then. So, if you do $20 a box and you have, 10 people in your wedding party, that's going to add up. And again, remembering that all of these, the number that you have in your wedding party, again, does add to your budget. Like I said before, the flowers, all of that stuff. So keep all of that in mind when you're selecting your wedding party. Have a good time while doing it. And again, these people should be someone who's excited to be a part of your wedding, but also a responsible, reliable person, and that's someone who's going to be a lifelong friend. Stay tuned next week when I give you guys more tips, and I will see you then.